Well, the one thing that the pandemic taught me in the fall was there's this wonderful thing out there called the 40-hour work week and weekends, which in my profession you don't have very often. And of course, it was a labor of love. I've really been blessed because I found something that I really enjoyed at a place that I loved, and it's been great. You know, I'm going to miss the people. There's no question about that. I'll miss the people. You know, we had a great run here, and I'll remember that, you know, every day. There's been a lot of changes, and you know, it's interesting because when you're at a place for 40 years, there's definitely going to be changes, and some people lament changes, and I always used to think of it as when I started in 1981, I certainly wouldn't have wanted Augustana to be doing things the way they were in 1941, which would be 40 years earlier. So, you know, and I'm sort of known around campus as a guy who doesn't like change, but I've been dragged, you know, kicking and screaming into the 2000s, I think. And I've enjoyed that kind of a challenge, and certainly enjoyed working with our athletes and our coaches. And you know, the administration has been supportive, and it's been a great time, and I've really enjoyed it. And but there also comes a time where it's time to be done. The thing about the COVID taught me that there is a different world out there that I've never really experienced, and it's called free time, which I've never really had much of. And so, you know, I'm looking forward to that, and I'm looking forward to coming back to events as a spectator and not having to worry about whether the PA system is working, or whether you know, afterwards how long it's going to take us to write our story to wrap up. And so I am looking forward to that, and certainly appreciative of Augustana for the opportunity that was afforded to me 40 years ago, and it's been great.
Well, when I got this appointment, I thought, I need more than 20 minutes. I need about 4 hours. I've known Dave since 1980. And he was on both our track and cross country teams that I coached. I spent hours and hours with him on a bus, in his office, watching his incredible work as a sports information director. He's one of those people that go beyond how tall they are or how big they are, and you still call him a giant. A giant in service, a giant in love, a giant in skill, and is leaving such a mark. And just to start with, Augie's known for having academic All-Americans and NCAA postseason scholarships. And all the tribute has to go to those kids who've earned that. They've got the grade points, they've been successful athletes. But somebody has to notice them, and that's Dave. And somebody has to write about him, and that's Dave. And I know that he starts paying attention to kids. You know, he pays attention to all kids, but to those shining stars when they're freshmen, and lets them know that you've got a future. And this is what our academic All-American status is like. And you can do this. And what a positive affirmation for a kid to hear, you know, bingo, year one. That's Dave. There is no doubt that we lead the country in academic All-Americans. We lead Division III, we lead our conference. I think we're 6th in the nation. In track and field, we've had more academic All-Americans than any division. Of course, you give credit to the student, but he works so hard to promote those kids, promote them because of they're the right student. They've done all the right things. It's telling the truth about them, and the way he seeks out starting to look at those kids from beginning is really why they're there. I can't imagine that pick a school like UCLA or the University of Minnesota, I mean, where they got 40,000 students and Division I athletes, Big 10, Big 12, and we're ahead of them. We're ahead of them because, well, we're ahead of them because we've got Dave Rath and they don't. Dave has written stories about them, and others too, that they win awards. And they win awards because he pays attention. One of my favorite ideas about writing is this: look closely, tell the truth. There's nobody better at that than Dave Rath. He looks closely. He knows kids. I can go in and ask him, do you remember who got third in the javelin in the 1980 conference meet at our place? And he'll know. And if he doesn't know, he's got this incredible background, a storage space of both in his brain and on his computers and in his files. He'll find out if it's something we need to know. And he doesn't look just at the champions. He looks at the miraculous run out of the freshmen. He looks at the drop baton that gets picked up, and he has a story. I read the newspapers, and there's nobody out there who writes better. One thing that's notable, that how the outside world looks at Dave. I know his athletes love him, and I know his coworkers respect and love working with him. I don't know if the world knows that, everything he does wins an award. The press box is named the Dave Rath press box for a reason. And everybody, when it happened, said, yes, of course. He'd win best award for football, best award for all of them, always. He was the first track national sports information director ever created. They started this about 8-9 years ago, and just who has done the most for their college and to promote the sport. I nominated him. I'm sure nominations came from all over the United States, not for him, but for their own. It was hands down easy. Dave Rath got that. The students who get to work for him learn what could be a career, but they also learn about care, meticulous writing, honesty. They also learn about that a mentor cares about that mentor or that mentored student, man or woman. Dave Rath's got your back. Dave Rath's going to mentor you, teach you, take care of you outside of just getting this job done. There is always some kind of energy that goes, and that's been with him his whole life, in his work, at basketball games, at football games, at baseball games, at tennis matches, wherever it is. He's there with this energy and this ability to, I'll say it again, look closely and then tell the truth. When I was coaching, I had a bulletin on my door. It was a picture of Steve Prefontaine, and I went to the University of Oregon, and underneath he's got a quote that he has given to all the press people. And it's this: to do anything but your best is to sacrifice the gift. Dave did his best always. He was gifted. Everything he did, he never sacrificed his gifts. He put them to work. All the examples add up to all his work as a sports information director. And I suppose over 40 years, I get to work with him, I get to be his coach, and I get to be his friend. I've probably built up some biases, but they're all well-deserved, I think. I just respect him and love him. And Augustana has been so blessed. And he also brings to this, he doesn't sacrifice humor and fun and the obvious joy he brings to working with other people. He's a giant in that way.